everyone! So this is going to be on childhood fears, and in particular like really weird ones that don't really make a great deal of sense because I think they're quite amusing. So the first one is one that I think a lot of children have fear of, which is getting sucked down the drain of the bathtub. So for example, whenever I had a bath, I'd have to get out before I pulled out the drain, and then I'd have to run away covering my ears because I hated the noise, and I was just worried that even if I looked at it for too long, or I just had my foot in the bath while it was draining, that I would get sucked down the drain with it. And it was pretty terrifying at the time, but I guess now that I'm bigger, I'm not going to fit down the drain, so that's pretty good. And then to go along with that, you know those bathtubs, they're usually old ones, but they have like little sort of feet at the bottom of them, and they're sort of off the ground on these little feet, and they look kind of like paws. I might put a photo here if you don't know what I mean. I would never ever get in one because I was worried, since it had feet and it had legs, that it would run away with me in it. I don't know, it made sense at the time, but now not so much. Yeah, I seem to have a really strange fear in particular of like inanimate objects. Another kind of odd fear that I had was, how do I put this, whenever I was in bed, I wouldn't look under the covers, like right to the end where my feet are, if that makes sense. You know, you lift up the covers and you can see your body in the bed. I hated looking in under the covers when I was in the bed because it was really dark. In particular, I had this sort of thought in my head that there was a black cat in my bed near my feet waiting to bite my toes. I think I actually thought that I saw it once, but you know, obviously it was just imagination, but I think that's what really triggered it, because ever since I saw those weird cat eyes at the bottom of my bed under the quilt, I always thought there was some monster down there waiting to eat my feet. So that's probably what it was. When I was about 5, I had this habit of, whenever I went to bed, I would get comfortable and I'd have the covers right up to my chin. I'd lie completely still the entire night and I wouldn't turn over or anything. I'd just be on my back, and I'd try to make sure that you couldn't really tell that I was breathing under the quilt. You know how you have the rising and falling of your breath when you're breathing and sleeping? I tried to kind of make that less visible, and basically my theory was that if I was completely still in my bed and I had the covers up to my chin and I just didn't move at all, that no ghosts or monsters would come in and kill me, and they wouldn't bother to because they thought I was already dead because I was still and under the covers to an extent. One fear I've had definitely ever since I was a child, and I actually still have today, is of mirrors at night time. I've just always felt really unsettled by them and nervous and just really uncomfortable around mirrors at night time, especially the ones in my room. So what I used to do is every night I would put a towel or a sheet over all the mirrors in my room, which was usually only 2 or 3, but still. I actually heard theories after having this fear that spirits and stuff can enter this realm or whatever through mirrors, something along those lines. So I guess that's probably what it was, but yeah, I still kind of have that fear. I don't cover my mirrors anymore. Sometimes I do, but not often. And the same goes for windows at night as well, but I think other people have that fear as well, being afraid that you're gonna see someone through the window that shouldn't be there or something. So this is a big one. I used to really hate any dolls or toys that talked. You know how they have the little speaker in them or whatever, and they say their random crap over and over. I used to be really not okay with them. Even if I really liked the doll, if it talked, that meant that I couldn't even have it in my room. Usually they'd all have to be put in the shed and they'd just stay there. And the dolls also always had to have their batteries taken out. I think that was even if they were going in the shed anyway. I guess maybe I was afraid that they'd start talking on their own without me making them or something. I don't know, but yeah, I couldn't even look in their eyes or their face or anything. It's just, inanimate objects should not talk. I think that was my theory. This one was also quite a strong fear. That was being afraid of getting trapped underneath a blanket or quilt. I'd be under it for some reason. I don't know why I'd be completely under a quilt with my head under it and everything, but anyway, I was afraid that someone would come along and sit on it or something, or stop me from getting out. I think that's actually because of my claustrophobia though, because I have, I guess you could say, reasonably high claustrophobia. I don't even like elevators really. But anyway, I think it was related to that, but yeah, it was just, I felt like I was going to be trapped under there or something, and I would stop breathing and die or something. My neck's all red. Can you see that? I've been itching it and it's red. My neck gets really irritable. Anyway, just ignore that if you can. This next one, if any of my family members are watching, you're probably going to find this very amusing. But when I was about 5 again, we lived in a kind of, not a unit, but it was kind of like 2 houses really close together and sharing a yard and everything. And basically my mum, me and one of my sisters lived in one of the little houses, and then there was a path that went to the other one where my brother and other sister lived. And sometimes I would like go and knock on their door and see if they were there just because I wanted to. But I was afraid of being in their house alone because they had a lot of, to me, like at the time, it's probably wouldn't consider it anymore, but really strange pictures on the wall of just, I don't know, weird stuff. I used to be afraid of the pictures because it's like the typical thing of being worried that their eyes are following you and they're watching you. I thought that the pictures were alive and they wanted to get me, and this one thing happened actually with them where I went into my brother and sister's house and the door, I think, shut on me or something, and it locked and couldn't open it again, and I was stuck in there with all of the creepy pictures, and I freaked out so much, and I was like screaming and crying to get out of there because I was scared of the pictures. It was really intense. I got out eventually, as you can tell. This one's going to be probably quite a surprise to a lot of people. But ironically enough, I actually used to be afraid for a short time of ravens and magpies, because when I was about 8 or 9, my friends at school told me that since corvids like shiny things, then that meant that if you looked a raven or a magpie in the eyes for too long, they would come and peck out my eyes. So I didn't like to even look at magpies or ravens in particular. So whenever I saw a raven, I'd like completely avoid eye contact with it, and I'd run away from it and avoid it, which is totally crazy. I mean, if you can't tell by my username and everything with how much I really love ravens. I was afraid of prawn chips, you know, the ones that you can get from like Chinese restaurants and stuff. Yeah, I was afraid of them because they kind of sucked onto my tongue, so I thought that maybe they'd get stuck and I'd never get the prawn chip off my tongue. This next one was also kind of triggered by a friend. I don't have it anymore, but for quite a while, like when I was 7, I hated going for drives at night when there were trees around because I was afraid of seeing faces in the trees, like evil faces or whatever, because my friend and I were having a sleepover and we were getting driven around in my dad's car, and she was like, oh, look at all the faces in the trees. I think it was actually meant to be a joke, but it ended up really freaking me out, and like ever since then I would not look at the trees. I'd have tunnel vision because I did not want to see faces in the trees. I'm not actually sure of the proper word for it, but you know how when you're in shopping centres or like just a big shop like Kmart, or if you're American, I guess Walmart, or like Target or something like that, you look up at the ceiling and there's like those silver air vent things, and I don't know, you can kind of see into the roof where there's all the silver venting and, oh gosh, what's the word? Not really pipes, but you know there's like round tube tunnel things of like silver stuff. I am so bad at explaining this. I'll put a photo in here if you don't know what I mean, which you probably don't, so there it is. But I was always afraid that there were other children stuck up in the vent thingies. I'm just going to call them vents because I don't know what the real word for it is. But I was worried that, I don't know, maybe like the shop owner or whatever trapped children and put them in the ceiling in the air duct venting thing, and I was worried that I would get stuck up there as well. And yeah, I'd always stare at the ceiling and think about all the children that might be stuck up there and how I might be next. These are starting to sound a bit strange, and I'm actually questioning whether or not I should upload this. When you put it all together like that, it's a little disturbing. This last one is probably quite a common fear among children from what I've noticed, and that is the fear of Santa. In particular, the Santas that you would find at shopping centres and stuff around Christmas that had the kids sit on their lap, and yeah, often you'd see other small children crying and not wanting to sit on Santa's lap, but also kind of wanting to and being really torn. Yeah, I was one of those kids that was afraid of the random Santas in the shopping centres and stuff. So those were my very strange childhood fears. I hope you enjoyed and you got a bit of a laugh out of this possibly. A few little notes just to let you know of things. First of all, I'm sorry if the camera, like you see a little blurry line like right there. in some of the clips. I don't have a tripod. I'm actually going to show you this setup here. I actually have this, which is what the camera sits on, and then a mirror so that I can see the camera's screen and if it stops recording or not, because it has a stupid habit of like cutting out in the middle of a video. But yeah, so it would be this that you're seeing. So yeah, just gonna put that out there. Really quickly, I also just want to say that there have been some really lovely people commenting on my videos saying very wonderful things, but I cannot reply to them because their reply button or something is disabled and no one can reply to their comments, including me. So if I'm not replying to your comments or anything, because I try to answer all of them, just check your settings on like Google and make sure that you have the reply button enabled and stuff. So I just want to say that if you don't know, my previous video, my little vlog of my exhibition Beauty of the Dead, on some platforms, like I guess on phones and iPads and just anything that isn't a computer, it's not viewable. But if you click on the video anyway and you look in the description, I have a link to a version of the video that you can watch on any viewing platform. So if you're worrying that you've missed out on that, just check the description of the video and there will be a version of it that you can click on and watch. Last thing I want to say is thank you so much for over actually 1,000 subscribers. It means so much to me. Like, it was a big thing to even get 100. So it means so much to me, and I love you all. Every single one of you. Thank you so much. I know to some people it might not seem like a lot, but it really does to me, and I'm so grateful. I was going to do a giveaway, like a 1,000 subscribers giveaway thing, but I'm really kind of busy at the moment. I have a lot of stuff going on with studying and exhibitions and everything, so I'm not going to really have time at the moment, but I might do one when I hit like 1,500 or 2,000 or something like that. But all I can say is that there will be a giveaway in the future, but not this time, not for the 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, thank you again for watching and everything. Thank you for listening to my rambling, and I will see you next time.